Hello and welcome to today's NCFE provider CPD webinar on getting the most out of NurseryVue and the Education and Childcare T-level teaching and learning resources. This is the first of 2 recorded sessions and today's topic is looking at learning environments. So we're going to see the aims of the session is to demonstrate how to use NurseryVue and incorporate its content within the current blended learning resources. This session is a recording and it will be made available to our centres. If you have any questions, please contact us at learningresources@ncfe.org.uk or innovation@ncfe.org.uk. We welcome questions from centres, so please do contact us if you have any queries related to the teaching and learning of Education and Childcare T-level. Our contact details will also be shared on the final slide of this recording. To get the most out of this webinar, it would be really useful if you could have a pen and paper handy to make any notes or comments you would like to send to us at the end. You can pause and rewind at any point during this recording. Okay, so we'll start off with some quick introductions and we have included pictures to allow you to put faces to our voices. Hello from me, and my name is Jill Childs, and I am the Systems Trainer for Learning Resources. My role is to support centres with the resources that have been developed, the platforms that they run on, and to offer support and guidance to ensure centres get as much as they can out of what has been developed. I have worked in the education sector for over 20 years, mainly with 16 to 24-year-olds on different government programmes, where I have assessed and delivered vocational qualifications with the lead on apprenticeship delivery. I have also worked in commercial training where I was part of a nationwide team to support staff on the installation and use of a new customer-facing platform.
And hello from me, my name's Tom Rogerson and I'm an Innovation Officer in our Innovation and Investments Department. A key part of my role is to help create resources using new technologies to support students with our qualifications. NurseryVue is an example of just that, and in this session we will show you how we can use these resources to help deliver T-levels. The outcomes of today's sessions are to identify the topics within NurseryVue that are available to teachers to support teaching and learning within Theme 3, Session 18 and 21. We'll also explore how NurseryVue and the blended learning resources can be adapted to meet the needs of a range of students. And this session should take around 30 minutes to complete and will include an overview of the structure of the T-level session, an exploration of how they could be best used and incorporate NurseryVue content for the different situations and the needs of T-level students.
To support the core delivery of the Education and Childcare T-level, we have produced additional and essential resources directly aligned to the requirements of the new technical qualification. Both the additional resources and the essential resources are delivered with accessible features for all learners, including learners with disabilities, and come with a range of customisable features, so you can tailor the package to suit your individual learner needs. The session pack contains a detailed session plan, an e-learning module, associated student activity sheets, revision and study sessions, and homework activities. NurseryVue can be used in a variety of ways, for example, setting the scene for your session, recap or review of the session, as an additional activity within your session or for a student independent study. You can see from the list we have identified the following sessions where NurseryVue can be used to support your delivery within the Education and Childcare T-level.
So NurseryVue is a really flexible resource that can help support students through themes and sessions. You can see the topics listed and I will go into more detail as to what NurseryVue covers. But just as a starter, we cover food and nutrition, dietary requirements, allergies and unwell children, physical care routines, and risks and hazards. NurseryVue was originally built for VR, but as colleges have shifted to remote learning, we've adapted it to desktop. Whilst the desktop version is not as interactive as the VR version, it still covers the exact same topics and is based on the learn, exercise, and quiz format. The resource was also developed to help support cash early year qualifications, but also has a lot of relevancy for T-level qualifications. And because it's been differentiated to level 2 and 3 cash qualifications, this means that there's a greater degree of differentiation that you can offer your students in supporting them with their learning. Both levels cover the same topics, but with different level of details. So you'll be able to give students who are new to the subject level 2, whilst you can give students who are more familiar with the topic level 3. The format of NurseryVue is easy to follow. It starts with teaching and learning, supported with an interactive exercise, then it finishes with a quiz where learners can test their knowledge. This tutorial helps guide you through how to access the different topics, but also how to navigate throughout, as you can see from our tutorial video.
Welcome to the NurseryVue tutorial. At the start of every topic, you will be presented with a short, non-interactive teaching and learning section, which will prepare you for the upcoming exercise and quiz sections. To interact with an object or button, simply aim at it with your mouse and click. At any time, you can pause NurseryVue by using the Escape key. From here, you can choose to resume the section, restart the section, skip to the next section, or return to the main menu. There are also repeat buttons throughout the sections in case you wish to replay any missed information, instruction, or question. In the exercise sections, you will interact with objects and buttons in order to demonstrate your understanding of the material in the teaching and learning section. Once you have completed the exercise, you will be taken to the quiz section. The quiz section will present you with 3 questions, each with 3 possible answers. To select an answer, simply aim at it and click.
NurseryVue is divided into 5 key topics across both levels: dietary requirements, food and nutrition, exercise and physical care routines, unwell children, and hazards indoors and outdoors. One thing to note is that all children and exercises presented in each topic are randomly generated when accessed.
We are now going to explore how NurseryVue can be used to support your delivery. For our first example, we are going to look at the blended learning session for Theme 3, Session 21. Remember that every blended learning session comes with a comprehensive and detailed session plan that can be amended and adapted to suit your delivery. This session is about the importance of planning the role of space for play in the classrooms. We will look at how NurseryVue can be used as either a recap or introduction to this session and how this will fit into the activities within this session. The learning outcomes of this session is to understand the physical learning environment and to explore the importance of planning the role of space for play in the classroom and understanding the importance and need for policies and procedures with regards to safety. The starter activity explores the different classroom environments, and the images contained within the activity looks at 3 examples, and students discuss how children respond to play in each of these environments. The purpose is to ask students to discuss the features of the environment that do or do not facilitate play. At this point, before the students engage with the activity, it will be a good starting point to see the content within NurseryVue that will set the scene for this session. We are going to look at early years education level 3, hazards indoors and outdoors in NurseryVue.
In this video, we're looking at topic 5, which is hazards indoors and outdoors for level 3. And it gives the student an interactive view of what it looks like to manage and mitigate any potential risks and hazards in the setting. The interactive nature of this exercise means that it helps students when it comes to creating risk assessments and designing their own classroom layout. So let's have a quick look at this exercise.
Physical, personal, security, food, and fire. In this exercise, we are going to plan a risk assessment by highlighting some risks within the exercise. Remember, Hazards are things which can cause harm, and risks are the probability things can become a hazard. Select the 5 risks that could become hazards if not monitored or controlled by the establishment. This common risk arises from COSH regulation. Medicine must always be stored in its designated place.
The topic of hazards indoors is a great example of how NurseryVue can be used to support students to identify potential risks in the nursery environment, giving the student the chance to become familiar with these risks and to give more of an interactive experience of dealing with this topic.
So you can see from the video clip how NurseryVue gets students to think about safeguarding and hazards within the classroom environment and to enhance the topic discussion. Going back to Theme 3, Session 21, there is a class discussion feedback where the students can share their findings. Example answers are: the physical environment influences how children feel, act and behave. The layout of the room can influence the way children use language and socially interact. The environment and the play can also help children to develop emotionally because in a safe environment, they feel more inclined to express themselves. A poorly arranged environment can cause disruption and can result in fractured social interactions amongst peers and with staff. The way the environment is planned is a direct reflection of the effort and time the teacher puts into planning. Children learn better in an environment that has a fusion of activities. For example, children become more developed with their language skills when they are learning from books, letters, and even reading displays or instructions. This second example is staying with Theme 3, Session 21, where the purpose of the task is to ensure the students understand the importance of establishing safety before they embark on planning solitary, cooperative, and associated play in the classroom. The activity is designed to encourage the students to think about the factors that teachers have to consider when planning learning environments and why they think these factors are important. There are questions on the Activity 1 worksheet where students can use the internet for research or to reflect on their existing knowledge of policies and procedures. This is an ideal opportunity to pick back up on the previous example in NurseryVue Early Years Educator Level 3, Hazards Indoors and Outdoors, and to continue on with this module. Using the interactive hazard environment will encourage students to think about hazards in the classroom, ready for them to go into the activity.
For example, within this module, verbal instructions inform the student that there are 5 risks and hazards within the classroom, where students have to navigate around the room and to identify each one. The interactive nature of this means that students are encouraged to actively look around and spot each hazard or risk. Once a student has identified a risk, a pop-up box gives the detail and the explanation of the risk and hazard it poses. For instance, what category the risk falls into and what form it takes. This explanation is both verbal and written. The student carries on navigating around the classroom until all 5 risks are identified. Once all 5 risks are identified, these are then listed on the screen. This can be an ideal stretch and challenge activity where students can use this information to produce their own risk assessment based on the classroom environment and the hazards identified. Alternatively, this can also be an added activity to home study or revision.
To recap on what students have learned about hazards indoors and outdoors, there is a recap quiz where an explanation of the correct answer is given. The quiz questions are both for Level 2 and Level 3, and these help test the knowledge of what the students have learned throughout the interactive session. The quiz can also be used as a revision aid by the student or by the teacher as a recap. For our next example, we'll be looking at Theme 3, Session 19, different types of play. Remember, as mentioned previously, every blended learning session comes with a comprehensive and detailed session plan that can be amended and adapted to suit your delivery. We will look at how NurseryVue can be used as either a recap or introduction to this session, and how this will fit into the activities within this session. The learning outcomes of this session are to understand the differences between types of play: physical play, creative and imaginative play, and heuristic play, and to appreciate how the different types of play contribute to emotional health and well-being. So for this adaptation, we are going to look at activity 4, physical play, and students will work in small groups or pairs to identify the benefits of physical play for children's cognitive development and to outline suitable physical play activities. There is an interactive PDF activity sheet that accompanies this activity, and students can use this to record their notes from NurseryVue. So using NurseryVue hazards indoors and outdoors is an excellent way of setting the scene of an outdoor play environment and the benefits of suitable physical play activities.
As well as looking at the classroom environment, students can identify risks with the outdoor environment. Within this module, students will identify the 5 risks within this outdoor environment. Again, just to note that these scenarios are randomly generated when you access the topic, so both the indoor and outdoor environments will be randomly presented. As previously demonstrated in the classroom environment, once a risk is identified, a pop-up box gives an explanation of the risk and the hazard it poses. This explanation is both verbal and written. The student then carries on navigating around the playground until all 5 risks are identified. Once all 5 risks and hazards are identified, these are then listed on the screen. And like with the indoor exercise, this can be an ideal stretch and challenge activity where students can use this information to produce their own risk assessment. Alternatively, this can also be added to home study or to revision.
After completing the activity sheet and using NurseryVue, the session is then brought back to a feedback where students take part in a class discussion to collate their ideas. Possible suggestions could be that physical activities improve children's brain functions, health, stronger bones, healthy heart, etc., movement, balance and coordination, gross and fine motor skills, and ability to concentrate, and how the prime areas of communication, language and literacy, personal, social and emotional development, and physical development are interlinked. Examples of physical play activities are listed on the second tab of Activity 4, Feedback. So although NurseryVue concentrated on an outdoor exercise activity, it sets the scene for students to realise the benefits of physical play and highlights the hazards and risks associated with this environment and offers the opportunity to embed this learning in a visual way. So many thanks to everyone for listening to this session, and we hope you have found it useful in thinking about how to incorporate NurseryVue into the blended learning resources to suit your own delivery. So to summarise, there is a range of sessions within the Education and Childcare T-level that we mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, and we encourage you to explore them for ideas and approaches on how you can incorporate NurseryVue. Please use and adapt the activities suggested in the resources to meet your own local needs and circumstances, and to build on this additional learning as an extension activity or home study.
We've also looked at the content within NurseryVue, in particular hazards indoors and outdoors, and we've provided suggested sessions within Theme 3, where NurseryVue can be used to underpin knowledge, as well as a revision resource or as a general introduction. If you have any questions or would like to access support and further guidance on NurseryVue, we would encourage you to contact us. There is support from the innovation team regarding VR resources, and please email us with specific queries or questions.
There is also support available from the Learning Resources team regarding the resources we have developed, how to access them and how to get the most out of them. And as systems trainer, I am happy to organise centre support around this. So here's our contact details as promised. And again, another reminder to contact us for general guidance and support. So thanks again and goodbye, and stay safe from everybody at NCFE.